Now, this afternoon, former President Mohammed has been unmatched as the government official won in a famous Airbus scandal. The OSP concluded investigation into alleged bribery by Airbus SE, a European national aerospace corporation, regarding the sale and purchase of military aircraft for the Republic. The office was engaged with Interpol and the central authorities of the United Kingdom and the United States under the mutual legal assistance regime. The special prosecutor says former President John Mahama was a government official won in the deal, but exonerated him from all charges.
Process leading to the purchase by the government of Ghana of 3 C-295 twin turboprop military transport aircraft from Airbus followed substantially the same pattern. Parliament approved the proposed transactions in 2011. In accordance with the laws of Ghana, in the estimation of the OSP, there was nothing remarkable about the deal, and it certainly would not have found its way in the UK and US deferred prosecution agreements and made headlines around the world, but for the involvement of former President John Dramani Mahama and his younger brother of the full blood, Samuel Adam Foster, also known as Samuel Adam Mahama, and his associates, as recounted in the UK and US deferred prosecution agreements. The OSP investigation found no evidence that former President Mahama was involved or played any role in the procurement and maintenance of the agency relationship between Airbus and Foster and his associates in respect of the purchase by the government of Ghana of military transport aircraft from Airbus. And it appears to the OSP that the direct communications and meetings between former President Mahama and officials of Airbus to close the deal were actuated by good intentions on the part of the former president. It also appears that Foster and his associates became involved as intermediaries in the Airbus Ghana deal after the decision by the government of Ghana in preference of the C-295 aircraft. Therefore, it seems that Foster's Airbus intermediary role at the time his brother served as the vice president of Ghana was a case of luckless coincidence that attracted the disapproval of the UK and US authorities. The OSP found no evidence that suggests that the involvement of Foster as an intermediary of Airbus and the direct communications and meetings between former President Mahama and officials of Airbus to close the deal between Airbus and the government of Ghana amounted to any corruption and corruption-related offense in respect of which the OSP has a mandate. However, it ought reasonably to have occurred to former President Mahama and the government of Ghana that the familiar relationship between former President Mahama and Foster and the direct participation by former President Mahama in the communications and meetings with Airbus officials were bound to raise reasonable suspicions of improper conduct and dealings, notwithstanding any claims to good faith conduct and above-board dealings, especially in light of the fact that during the first Airbus campaign, former President Mahama was a chairman of the Armed Forces Council by reason of his position as a vice president, and therefore a very key decision maker. Such close proximity dealings by such elected high officials of the Republic and their kin and close associates on behalf of the Republic should neither be viewed favorably nor encouraged, as they give rise to reasonable suspicion of influence peddling and conflict of interest, never mind any intended good faith on the part of the vice president or the president.
Well, the OSP also identified Samuel Adam Foster, younger brother of John Mahama, who as the individual 4 in US and intermediary 5 in UK investigations into the Airbus scandal. And he says his actions do not constitute any criminal misconduct. The special prosecutor has since sent a withdrawal notice to Interpol for him and 2 others.
The OSP has cited and notes that by 2 separate communications, both dated 22 April 2021, the SFO in the United Kingdom notified Samuel Adam Foster and Philip Sean Middlemas that a decision had been taken not to prosecute them for any offense in respect of the Airbus Ghana deal. It has not come to the notice of the OSP that the SFO in the UK has reconsidered its decision. We consider it that it ties with our conclusion. Further action. A special prosecutor has directed the closure of the OSP investigation into alleged bribery of high-ranking Ghanaian officials by Airbus SE through intermediaries in respect of the sale of military transport aircraft by Airbus SE to the Republic of Ghana between 2009 and 2015. The OSP would not institute criminal proceedings against any person in respect of this investigation. The special prosecutor has also directed authorized officers of the OSP to rescind the 13 May 2020 warrants of arrest obtained from the Circuit Court, Accra, for the arrest of Samuel Adam Foster, also known as Samuel Adam Mohammed, Philip Sean Middlemas, Leanne Sarah Davis, and Sarah Feno. Earlier today, I sent out correspondence notifying Interpol of the withdrawal of the red notices in respect of Samuel Adam Foster, also known as Samuel Adam Mohammed, Philip Sean Middlemas, Leanne Sarah Davis, and Sarah Feno.
Well, we'll do more on this particular, story. We'll be speaking to Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, Mustafa Gwande, Executive Director of the Ghana Integrity Initiative, Mary Awela Ada, and Political Marketing Analyst, Professor Kobe Mensah. But let's try and break this issue down for you by sharing with you some details that we've tried to tease out from this particular report. Now, it says, investigation into alleged bribery of high-ranking Ghanaian officials by Airbus SE through intermediaries in respect of the sale of military transport aircraft by Airbus SE to the Republic of Ghana between 2009 and 2015. So that's, the investigation that was done. It has taken 52 months for the OSP to do this. Another thing is that OSP gave itself some timeline. So in February 2020, President Akufo-Addo referred these allegations to the Office of the Special Prosecutor. In February 2020, OSP commenced investigations into this matter. In November 2020, investigation on pause for 9 months because of several other issues. Now, in January 2024, OSP interviewed suspects, starting with former President John Mahama. In June 2024, OSP concludes investigations into this matter. Former President John Mahama was government official one reference. So that's the findings of the OSP's investigation, that former President John Mahama was the government official one. Samuel Adam Mahama, who is also known as Samuel Adam Foster, and a younger brother of John Mahama, was referenced as one of the intermediaries in this. Now, again, the 3 aircraft purchased followed legal procedures. So that's the finding of the OSP, that the aircraft Ghana purchased from Airbus followed legal procedures. Again, the deal drew attention due to Mahama and his brother's involvement. And the OSP says no evidence implicates former President Mahama in the procurement process. Again, one of the findings is that no evidence of bribes paid to John Mahama or other public officials. Airbus and Adam Mahama, into bracket Foster, had previous dealings with other African governments prior to the Airbus Ghana transaction. OSP says it will not pursue criminal charges related to this investigation any further. And so that's another finding there, and the conclusion that OSP will not pursue criminal charges related to this investigation. So that's, by way of what the OSP concludes there. Let's dwell more on this by coming into the studio and having a chat on this. We also have Professor, Kobe Mensah with us. He is a political communication analyst. He will be joining us as well for us to have a chat. And Mustafa Gwande is here with me in studio. Mustafa, thank you for coming. Let me bring in Professor Kobe Mensah for us to start this discussion. Prof, what will be the impact of this conclusion or finding by the OSP on the politics ahead of 2024, December 7th?
Thank you for having me. I think that immediately it impacts, on the campaign messaging. Obviously, the political parties always articulate, their messages to the people, the policies. They will talk about key issues, amongst them economics, economic issue. They will talk about education, but they will also talk about corruption, which is a mainstay in our political campaign. Now, usually when politicians actually propound policies or they propose policies, the question is, what is the policy credibility, i.e., you would say in my discipline, what is the policy brand equity, i.e., the frames or the underpinnings based on which people will believe the policy. Okay. And usually we look at the policy brand equity from two perspectives. One, you're looking at the source credibility, i.e. the credibility of the one who is proposing that policy that they would implement, or that they would have the goodwill or the willpower to actually implement it. Or you're looking at the achievability of the policy, whether the policy is practical, whether it makes sense, etc. In this particular instance, the only person that looks to me has the higher ground, the moral higher ground, to actually sound convincing that they could indeed prosecute corruption is the former president. Why? Because immediately, he had been, sort of vindicated, or you can say exonerated by, a respected, office. And so he has the moral grounds to actually propagate corruption, fighting corruption, and then fighting, corrupt officials. Now, of course, the other issue, of course, that you think...
Prof, I'll come back to you to give me the other details, but let me quickly bring in the Deputy General Secretary of the MPP, Mustafa Mohammed, into this discussion. Mohammed, how is the party responding to this finding? Because this was quite a trump card for you in the run-up to the 2020 elections. So Haruna Mohammed, dropped off the line there. He is the Deputy General Secretary. Earlier I said Mustafa. He's not Mustafa. He's Haruna Mohammed. We'll try and raise him. Let me come back to you. Do we have Haruna on the line now? Okay. So let me come in studio before I bring in Prof. So Mustafa, it looks like this is a done deal for you then in 2024.
It's a done deal because there was nothing, and you can't add the facts beyond what they are. President Mahama have always said, I've been a president of Ghana. I've led this country, subject my personality, my stewardship to scrutiny. If there was any wrongdoing, talk about it, let's discuss it, let's investigate it. But he even made a call to President Akufo-Addo that if they are holding or there's something they know of about his integrity, about him involved in any wrongdoing, let them come out with it. So this is a conversation that today, the person who should be apologizing for wrongdoing, the person who should be saying sorry, is none but President Akufo-Addo. A man who have...
Well, he only referred...
He lubricated this propaganda. He incentivized it, he used it, he relied on it for his campaign.
Haruna, but Mustafa, for the court in US and UK...
Doesn't matter.
They said, and let me read this, if you were the head of state, what will you do? He says, from 2009, Intermediary 5 and his associate worked on the sale to the government of Ghana without any written consultant agreement. This included liaison with government official 1 regarding the potential Airbus C295 sale. Intermediaries 5 and 6 submitted a report to Airbus which documented a January 2011 meeting in London attended by themselves, government official 1 and Airbus, at which the C295 aircraft was agreed upon as the most suitable aircraft for the needs of the government of Ghana. And if a court makes a pronouncement on this, wouldn't you expect the president then, who says, I want to fight corruption, to refer this issue to the OSP?
The laws of Ghana, the jurisprudence of our law says that an accused stands innocent until proven guilty.
Sure.
So all persons or individuals who are accused of some form of wrongdoing fundamentally shouldn't be judged wrongly until proven guilty. And I'm saying that President Akufo-Addo have incentivized that propaganda. In fact, he propelled it. He was very definite in their campaign that President Mahama is Airbus official one and named it Airbus Scandal. In fact, in your artworks today, which is making the rounds, he said, President Mahama has been unmasked. He has not been unmasked. It is President Akufo-Addo who created the mask.
Okay, stay with me. Stay with me. Let me bring in Haruna Mohammed, who is Deputy General Secretary of the NPP. Haruna, so I'm asking, how is your party taking this? That now this campaign or this something that was a trump card for you in 2020 is now the OSP says, well, there's even nothing in it at all.
Thank you very much. I would like to say good afternoon to your cherished viewers. And my brother, Mustafa, good afternoon to you. I can see you are struggling. You are struggling indeed. I can see the struggling to defend the most corrupt individual on the continent of Africa. The ease of the special prosecutor has gone to confirm the MP position that John Mahama has been a corrupt individual from all. He eats, drinks, lives with corrupts, and these has been confirmed.
No, but Haruna, but the OSP who says the government official one was Mahama, again, in the same thing says, hold on. But he, again, in that same statement says, President Mahama did nothing wrong. So
yeah, that is what I'm going to come on that. That's what I'm going. What necessitated the government official one? It was a court ruling. A court ruling in the UK established a position called government official one, and then established an individual who is said to be his brother, who is being named as number 5? Yes, that is his brother. It's established. What was the court ruling? The court ruling said that government official one was an influential government officer who was under the contract, trying to make sure that that particular Airbus scandal works through. And what did the OSP say? The OSP came and confirmed the ruling of a competent court of jurisdiction. Let's distinct this. My brother, you should get this understanding. A ruling of a court and an investigation of a government body does not nullify the decision of the court. The decision of the court has not been appealed. It has not been reviewed. So government official one in this case referred to a corrupt individual, which is being confirmed as John Mahama. The second thing that we have to note is that the OSP did not leave it back. He said that he should have recused himself for the sake of conflict of interest. He did not do so. What is the state of conflict of interest on the laws of Ghana? On the laws of Ghana, on conflict of interest, you have to be investigated. And that is where it has to go to Shlad. It has been investigated on conflict of interest on the Amajaro issue.
Haruna, but the pronouncement by the court was in the UK, US, and France.
No, but we have common laws.
But like the OSP states, those jurisdictions do not apply to ours, and therefore you cannot use theirs hook, line, and sinker and conclude that so then someone
if an individual commits a crime outside and you are gathering evidence, what stops you from taking the evidence from there? Is there any law in Ghana that says that you can pick a judgment of a competent court of jurisdiction in another jurisdiction to establish your case and prosecute your case in your country? There is no such law. And that is why I say that the OSP has done a lazy job. Because the OSP did a lazy job because you can't conclude by saying that because you don't have the facts at hand, you don't have all the facts at hand, hence you cannot prosecute that case. Did he go to ask for the judgment? What was the material used in the judgment in the UK?
And he says he did.
So he could have done that. He could have done that and get the document. Has he been denied the judgment? We know how a judgment is written. All the opinions of judges sitting on the panel will indicate their position and quote the necessary laws to back their decision. And you would have been able to establish those particular facts. But what is key in Ghana now is that we have an individual who has been confirmed in the UK And then the special prosecutor has established the case that he is indeed the government official one, because he was the vice president. He later became president. What was he doing with a contract where it is confirmed by special prosecutor that he was sending emails directly by himself to Airbus as a company? Was he the contractor? Was he the contractor? He was not the contractor. So he has no business to be sending emails on such a contract. That is very dubious, very scandalous, very, very bad to the state of Ghana.
Who sent the emails, Haruna? Now,
President Mahama, the government official one.
Now, OSP says, notwithstanding the definitive pronouncement by the UK and US courts on the accepted culpability of Airbus, beyond reasonable doubt for bribery in relation to the sale of to Ghana of C-295 aircraft, it was imperative that a criminal investigation be carried out by a relevant Ghanaian authority for several reasons. First, the relevant investigative authorities in Ghana did not participate in the investigation. And it says also the UK and US judicial decisions only establish criminal culpability in the context of the laws of the two jurisdictions. It does not automatically follow that the act accepted as proved beyond reasonable doubt in those jurisdictions amount to criminal offenses in the reckoning of the Ghanaian law. To rely solely on the UK and US decisions without more as proof of criminal culpability would be akin to seeking to enforce the criminal laws of the UK and US in Ghana, which is impermissible. And he has used the Ghanaian law, conducted these investigations, and realized that, well, President Mahama did nothing wrong.
Using the law, there are always opinions in the use of the law. There could be a different special prosecutor who may rely on another provision of the law to prosecute his case. So we are not faulting him for his work, for his opinion, but we are saying he did a shoddy work. He could have proceeded to gather the evidence to go ahead. But what is most important is that we all know that government official one was related to corruption issues, was convicted and was announced in the UK, and we have now confirmed and unmasked that the former president of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, was the government official one, and his brother Samuel Mahama was the one that took the bribe, the money that was paid. And it is confirmed that he was the one sending the emails directly as vice president and the government official one in Ghana to the Airbus company.
So you don't accept...
They went and contracted a third party. The third party has no business even in the development or even shipment of aircraft. So you don't questionable matters.
You don't accept the findings of the OSP. What next will be? What action will be on? Will you take next?
Well, the point is that the OSP has strengthened the case of the MPP that John Mahama is government official one, which you agree with me.
But he goes further to exonerate him of wrongdoing.
The OSP too has said that his brother is Samuel Mahama, who is also identified in the criminal prosecution in the UK. The OSP has also said that he could have recused himself because of conflict of interest, which he did not do, which is also an offense in Ghana. Remember, crime has no expiry date. You know that. In our law books, crime has no expiry date, and there's no definitive result to crime. And at any point in time, these confirmations can be dealt with. This judgment has come, or this particular investigation report has just come in an early days yet. Our lawyers will also look at it. The MPP will state our position. But we are very happy that the government official one is clearly John Dramani Mahama, who is a corrupt individual in this country, who has been investigated before, who has been involved in the hunger issues, which was investigated under his own boss. It has also been established that he has involved himself in sending emails to contracts that he is not a contractor to that particular contract. And this is very clear. He himself has leased this particular country's boxer to his own brother, Ibrahim Mahama. He has done so many things in this country that he himself doesn't know that a human being responds to corruption. When he was interviewed in BBC, he was asked, "Are you corrupt?" He said, "As a human being." Was he sitting there as anything else? He was a human being sitting there. So please, Ghana doesn't need such an individual to rule us. Ghana doesn't need such a person. That is why the NGP has elected Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who is very decent, very respectful, very innovative, very creative, and result-oriented. We need results. We don't need leaders. We need results. People who come and provide results, not people to come and lead and complete their term of office. That's what we are looking for. So our guys in the end should stop debating. This is an indictment on their leader. And I think that they should have changed their flag bearer by now.
when they have been exonerated, the man has been exonerated anyway, that the final decision will be taken by the generality of Ghanaians. Grateful to you, Haruna Mohammed, for joining us. He is Deputy General Secretary of the MPP. Let me bring in Vitus Azim, who is an anti-corruption campaigner. Vitus, grateful for joining. What's your own reading of the situation we have? The OSP going through all the processes. Mr. Mohammed did no wrong.
Well, I have always said in the past that we're in a democracy, and if there's an investigation, we should not expect it to come the way that would be favorable to us. So if the special prosecutor has found that there's no basis to go further with this case and has exonerated them, that should be the end of this matter.
Okay.
Unless the government wants to take it up with a higher authority. In which case, I don't know which higher authority, investigative authority would then take it to. So as for me, I think that maybe it would have disappointed a number of people, or some people, especially in the ruling NPP. But that is the ruling, and I think we should accept it the way it has come.
Okay. But when the UK and the US make pronouncements in those rulings, that's sort to implicate Airbus and its dealing with Ghana in that particular purchase. Isn't it curious that we're now being told that there's no evidence that proved that there was any wrongdoing?
You see, it is possible that the UK used a certain law to find that there was something wrong. But even the UK has not come after these people. And the Office of Special Prosecutor, they don't use that law or that procedure. You might have talked about the conflict of interest. And there are instances of conflict of interest, either actual conflict of interest, potential conflict of interest, and perceived conflict of interest. And so, maybe there was potential conflict of interest because they were brothers and they were involved in the transaction, or even perceived people from outside viewing it as a conflict of interest. But the special prosecutor has been very specific on this one. That one, their relationship, the present relationship with his brother, did not influence the transaction, and that no bribes were paid as a result of this transaction. So I don't see why somebody should even say that the special prosecutor did a shoddy job, because you didn't want him to come out with a finding that you don't expect. But of course, we're in an election year, and these things are expected. If the special prosecutor has found John Mahama culpable, the NDC would have come out to accuse the special prosecutor of also maybe doing a similar shoddy job. And so I'm not surprised that NPP2 has also come out to say that, well, the special prosecutor, the only worry to be is that the special prosecutor's woes, especially with regards to his relationship with NPP, are likely to worsen. Because the guy on the panel with us already has expressed the party's stand on it. They are not happy with it. They think he did a shoddy job. So it will affect the special prosecutor's relationship with the party, especially when it comes to release of funds. It was even alleged that some particular individuals in the party were actually interested in getting an adverse outcome. And that, you see, the Office of Special Prosecutor traveled a number of times. It was alleged to have traveled a number of times to UK with regards to this investigation. And so it would be unfair to accuse the special prosecutor of doing a shoddy job. I think so.
Okay. Now, the details that we have, it says Airbus was charged with offense of failure of a commercial organization to prevent bribery, contrary to Section 7 of the Bribery Act 2010. Then at some point, we are told that, for example, in the purchase of these aircraft, It says, in respect to the first campaign for 2C295, Airbus paid 3,909,756 euros to a third-party company, Intermediary 8, between March 2012 and February 2014. Intermediary 8 in turn paid 3,850,115 euros to Company D, which belonged to Samuel Adam Mahama. In respect of the second campaign for the sale of 1C295, Intermediary 5 or Company D were promised approximately 1,675,000 euros. That promised amount was not paid. What was happening here? If the court says these amounts were paid to Company D, which belonged to President Mohammed's brother, how best can we put it if this is not corruption?
See, the special prosecutor has found that there were legal commissions paid to the intermediaries,
okay,
which are common with any transaction.
Yeah.
They are common with any transaction. Even currently, this government, certain individuals and companies are always providing financial advice for the government to take loans from outside. And it is proved that they paid official commissions, then there's nothing wrong with that. There would have been contracts establishing that this money should be paid. So otherwise, you cannot say that it is bribery.
Okay.
The special prosecutor has established that they did not find instances of bribery in this transaction.
All right. So then
And the UK government has not found any of them culpable. They didn't even mention their names. Why did they not even mention their names? At the time, some of us were wondering, if you start saying government of one, government of the other, why would you not mention their names? But they probably had their reasons for not mentioning their names. Probably because it has not established fully that these people were culpable.
Well, they explained that in some of these jurisdictions where they were looking at, some of these jurisdictions had even death penalties for people engaging in corruption. So they had to complete, they had to ensure the investigations are completed before they could name them. But I'm grateful for your thought here on this particular subject. Vitus Azim, let me come in studio here. Mustafa, so, I mean, if you listen to Vitus, he explains clearly that that money paid, the OSP says they were legitimate commissions, which of course are in business. Like you also allege against former finance minister's company when he takes commissions from the loans they go for. So it's the same arrangement.
Yeah, so, you know, I've already stated that. And I won't go into the details of the issue. I've listened to our three colleagues, and when I listened to my brother Mohammed, clearly this is somebody who is ignorant about investigation. Two, he may be ignorant about how the laws work and how interjurisdictional prosecutions are carried out. He doesn't understand it. If he does, I don't think that he will sound this way. A deputy general secretary of a party in government, you don't speak like that. Now, let me come to this matter. What is very important here is that President Mahama stand exonerated, cleaned by the special prosecutor. We all know that both in the UK and in the US, there was nothing substantial. There was no culpability against him. But what happened here in Ghana was a politically motivated propaganda, and they are standing to use that propaganda again, which has fallen flat on the floor. It has fallen flat for lack of evidence, falling flat for lack of merit, falling flat because if you look at the people who intend to even use that, to hang on that, they are worse. If a relative engaged in business whilst you're in government was a crime, President Akufo-Addo should have been publicly executed. Publicly. Because as for him, he's worse. We've never had a president who have syndicated family takeover of government like he did. He didn't just, Ken Ofori-Atta didn't just have a company that did business. He is a relative of the president who was our finance minister, under whom President Akufo-Addo and his children siphoned state money through contracts that have yet been established by the Auditor General. So these things are not political conversations. This is what the Auditor General have said.
But in some of them, they've come out to explain that they've
I'm just
not
saying,
been paid for.
so if explanation was enough, when President Mohammed said, I have no wrongdoing in Airbus, it should have sounded well in the ears of both President Akufo-Addo and his government. But yet, he incentivized it, motivated it, exploited it politically, and today it has fallen flat. You know, the same President Akufo-Addo was the one who fueled this Papano, conversation and all over to smear President Mahama. But when he became president, we caught him red-handed with pictures. That is what God does. So today, the NDC is happy again because we have a presidential candidate who is a former president, who has an impeccable track record, who has a credibility, who has an integrity of honesty, because when he says A, nothing can find it to be B. But on the other side, in fact, even if relatives having contracts was a crime, just yesterday, Anthony Kabo was defending Vice President Mahmoud Bawumia's brother, who was given 200 million road contract out of sole sourcing. We didn't talk about it. We haven't finished that conversation. And so the MPP should not even start this conversation because they are not any place close to that credibility. They don't have it. They cannot sit on the table to say that, oh, if you are a relative, you have a relative in government, it means that you have done some wrong. No, they shouldn't even start that conversation. Gabi Asare Ochredaku, who is not an appointment holder in government. You know all the things he's involved in.
I don't know.
I know. And I will not, to be fair to him, will not go in. That's why I'm saying that let not the MPP begin this conversation.
Okay.
We should leave sleeping dogs to lie. Today, the OSP have spoken. We respect the work of the OSP. He has come to bring closure to the matters of the Airbus scandal. President Akufo-Addo exploited it when himself had a convenient relationship with Martin Amidu. But when Martin Amidu realized that President Akufo-Addo was worse than what he preaches, he jumped out of the boat, and this special prosecutor had to continue. Today he has let the cats out of the bag, and he sets all of us free. Let's go then to the table to the people of Ghana to say who has credibility and who has integrity. President Mahama is clean, he's white like a bird, no scandal, and if they have any other issue, let them bring it on board. But we do know that President Akufo-Addo and his siblings have established a syndicate of fraud to steal from the people of Ghana, to jeopardize the people.
You haven't established that.
I have evidence, except that we are running from that conversation.
All right.
So again,
let me bring in Professor Kobe Mensah. He's still with us. Prof, so in this case, it's safe to conclude that it will inure to the benefit of President Mahama in the run-up to the elections in December.
Yeah, when it comes to that political or campaign messaging, certainly he has the upper hand. He has the authority, the moral authority to actually talk about corruption, and then of course prosecuting corrupt people. But as I said, the other implication is that it should be clear to all of us that indeed there are some deontological ethical issues. I mean, we talk about due process, we talk about conflict of interest. I mean, if you listen to OSP, it says that the attention was drawn particularly because of the relationship between the former president and the brother. Yeah. Obviously, in the UK, one of the things that they stand on is due process all through. Obviously, in some other jurisdictions, they will talk about, the end justifies the means. Whether, it is a bad process or not, it doesn't matter. What matters is that, the end is a good thing or a bad thing. But in the UK, they subscribe to a due process that in every step of the way, there must be a very clear due process. And so in this country, what I've realized is that most people don't actually, alert their minds to some of these things. Okay. And so certainly you're going to have, problems with, family relationships, etc. Being in these areas. It might not amount to criminal issues or, judicial issues, but there are huge ethical implications, which I am sure, people would have to start thinking about, and which Mustafa was just saying it. We just had the current vice president's brother being awarded X amount of money in terms of, a certain repairs. I mean, some of these things must concern us, and we must start thinking about, ethics in that line. Otherwise, we're going to have some of these issues coming on board.
Okay. So in this regard, I mean, must we be worried about the business that a brother did, even if, I mean, like you concluded, it's right that, yeah, people are paid commissions on the businesses that they do?
Well, absolutely. I mean, we have to be concerned about, ethics. It might not be legal, but of course, in Ghana, we don't look at that point of, a dealings. But as I said, the OSP actually raised that concern, which was one of the centerpiece of the British officials. And I am thinking that perhaps the leaders of this country must start thinking about it. You have a president whose daughters are actually getting contract here and there. Absolutely not acceptable. And so I think that it has to go into our consciousness as people. You couldn't actually use opportunities or your positions to actually, sort of get involved with your relatives, etc. That's also a crucial point. So I think that we have to start, thinking about those lines as well.
Must there be a law to really be explicit that if you are in such a position, none of your family members should benefit A, B, or C?
Well, I don't have any clue in terms of legal issues, but I can talk about ethical issues. Whether ethical issues could be legalized or could be legislated, if I should put it that way, I'm not sure. It would be those who actually have, experience or have expertise in legal issues could actually talk about it. But I think that our society is very far from ethical issues. People don't see ethics at all in their dealings. You have all institutions, including many institutions, government, private, etc., who don't see anything wrong with getting family members in the position that they're in, which is very, very unacceptable in a society like that. If we're going to develop and we want to actually be like a proper democracy, we should also think about ethical issues.
Okay, all right. Grateful to you, Prof, for finding time to share with us this afternoon. Mustafa, this is where we ended, but I mean, the special prosecutor has spoken. We all know where it is now, but Prof says we should look at the ethics, the ethical implications of what we do.
It's not just about making of laws. All of us as Ghanaians must rise up to say, enough of the rubbish of people taking political power, and your family members become henchmen and direct beneficiaries of the people's power. I mean, that is what, there should be a political price. And the political price is that the current regime have normalized family and friends, and that there should be some sort of reprimand, there should be some sort of prize. And the only prize for these things is vote them out of power. Get them out of power. They are not fit to manage your power. Look, fighting corruption, as Kobe have said, President Mohammed today is having the authority to talk about corruption.
But this is not the only
President
case that was...
President Akufo-Addo have opened an investigation towards a former president. Let me assure him that the day he exits as president, we will investigate every single thing he has done, including the land in front of his house belonging to government that he has taken. We will investigate that. He doesn't have the moral right to talk about corruption. We do, because we have been investigated and exonerated. We'll see if next year we'll still sit here to talk about corruption when a former president will be behind bars. And that will be President Akufo-Addo. So it's not just about making laws and making laws and making laws.
Okay.
It should be about Ghanaians saying that, what the hell that today, when I'm going to buy fuel, I am not being asked whether I'm a family of Akufo-Addo or not, but I have to pay because I'm an ordinary Ghanaian. When I have to go and farm, the inputs will have to be bought at a higher price because I'm a Ghanaian. And then you have the presidency, and you have appointees and their family members, ministers of state creating businesses and allowing their girlfriends to take contracts. You have a vice president, his brother being given contracts. You have a president's children taking contracts for no work done, and Ghanaians are quiet. We are too quiet. We are not angry enough. In other jurisdictions, President Akufo-Addo should not still be a president. He should be either impeached or chased out.
I'm grateful to you,
I mean, we are too lenient.
Mustafa Mohammed is Deputy General Secretary of the NDC. We'll take a quick break here. We'll be back with more. Please do stay with us here on the Pulse. Welcome back from that break. Armed officers of the Criminal Investigation Department of the Ghana Police Service, under the supervision of the Accra Circuit Court and the Narcotic Control Commission, have burnt 242 sacks of marijuana, 16 kilograms of cocaine, and buckets of heroin as part of effort to clamp down on the production, sale, and usage of narcotic substances in Ghana. The move is also part of a broader strategy by law enforcers to break down the criminal network involved in the trade of illicit drugs in the country. Latif Idrisu was at the Osu Beach where the destruction took place, and he joins me via Zoom with more. So Latif, just run us through how this went about. I mean, they burnt cocaine and marijuana. How did they do it?
Well, Kojo, let me say that there were about 242 fertilizer sacks filled with marijuana. We also had some boxes of cocaine and also some buckets of heroin. These narcotic substances, we were told by the court that they were seized by the security operatives on the high seas just a couple of months ago. There are also some items in there that were seized as far back as 2021. It has been on the courts. The court has made a ruling or a judgment has been made. And so now the order has been given for these narcotic substances to be destroyed. And the mode of destruction as chosen by the Narcotics Control Commission and the court, together with the investigation department of the Ghana Police Service, they decided that they are going to burn it, and that was exactly what happened at the Osu Beach some few hours ago, under the supervision of the Circuit Court here in Accra and the Narcotics Control Commission. These narcotic substances were set ablaze. The difficulty has to do with the proximity of these substances from the sea. For us observing at the place where this whole destruction took place, we felt that the substance was a bit closer to the sea, and it's not going to take expedite pace for the burning of the substance. The concern is that maybe deep in the night, if it doesn't go down, then we would have some unscrupulous persons going in there trying to rescue it to go and use or even sell on the market. But this is a huge catch. And like I mentioned, it was done by the security operatives on the high seas. And that is what transpired at the Osu Beach today when they set fire into what we understand is worth hundreds of thousands of Ghana cedis on the street. So if you take the cocaine, for instance, it weighed about 16 kilograms, we're told. But for the marijuana, as you find in the shot there, that is the chunk of it. The marijuana is a chunk of the narcotic substances that were seized. For marijuana alone, we are looking at 246 sacks, and that was seized. And I'm told this is owned by just a single person. You can imagine the kind of investment that has gone into this outlawed venture, if you like. But the security operatives luckily got the hint and then arrested him, took him to court, and the court has made a judgment and an order given for the destruction of the substance which has transpired today.
Okay, just give us this education. Recently, there was a law passed in Parliament that allowed the cultivation of industrial Indian hemp. This does not fall within the category, right?
Kojo, can you take that again?
I mean, recently there was a law passed in Parliament that allowed the industrial cultivation of industrial hemp. This marijuana does not fall within that range, right?
So you're talking about the industrial hemp. So this is a excuse me. This is a question we posed to the court rep who was there to supervise the destruction about how this could go into feeding legal hemp, if you like, an industry, legal hemp industry. And he says this is what the court's order has the court has given as an order, and that is what they are following. And so that question doesn't come in at all, according to him. The order has been given by the court for the destruction of the substance, and that is what they are following it, and they are following it judiciously, if you like.
Latif, I'm grateful to you for joining. Latif Idrisu there was at the beach where the cocaine and Indian hemp were burnt. We'll keep an eye on that as well. But away from that, research has shown that most small and medium enterprises in both Nigeria and Ghana believe introducing artificial intelligence tools is the best option to catalyze their operations, remove human interface, and eradicate corruption. The World Bank estimates they provide between 60 and 70% of jobs in sub-Saharan Africa and about 40% of the GDP in low-income countries. But the operations and growth are mostly stifled by corruption. Today on The Pulse, we will dig further into this topic with someone who knows the terrain and the outcome of the research findings. We will be engaging Samuel Adomako, Associate Professor of Strategy and Innovation at the University of Birmingham, UK. Grateful to you for joining us. Now, Doc, your research reveals that digital tools can be a game changer in fighting corruption among SMEs in Ghana. But can you tell us what sparked your interest in this critical issue affecting our economy?
Me on your show. A group of researchers from the University of Birmingham, University of Durham, and the University of Aberdeen, we had an interest in understanding how small businesses will grow, and our interest span from the use of digital technologies and how digitalization has improved their kind of interest in doing this. So we sought to find out and did some research around that. And the findings are very interesting. We found that small, medium-sized enterprises that use digital technologies like the artificial intelligence that you mentioned in their business model allow them to create new revenues streams and add value to their opportunity seeking in the market.
What did your research really find, and what are supposed to be what these SMEs can do to change the game?
Well, as I mentioned, we found that SMEs that integrate artificial intelligence technologies and other digitalization processes to leverage their kind of digital technologies are able to transform their business models, and they are able to create new revenue streams and improve their value-producing opportunities. And so if we take, for example, two companies that one is using digital technologies, the one that is more prone to use digital technologies is more likely to improve their growth and increase their revenues than those that don't do that. But you also find that those that use digital technologies are able to bypass corruption and other briberies activities from authorities in Ghana and in Nigeria. And so the SME managers mentioned that digital technologies have helped them to improve their growth and reduce corruption activities. So these are the key findings in our research.
Okay. Now, Ghanaian entrepreneurs face numerous challenges, from access to capital to, a lot of issues in terms of dealing with corruption. How does your study address these points, and what solutions do you propose?
Well, we have so many recommendations kind of for managers and also for policymakers in Africa, and particularly in sub-Saharan Africa. We propose that SMEs should integrate these digital technologies, but for policymakers, that it's important for them to look at how these technologies can assist small, medium-sized enterprises to grow. And so this is important for them. And so there are several kind of activities that we talk about. For example, helping them to secure the technologies that are most important for them to grow their businesses is important. As you mentioned, one of the difficulties for small, medium-sized enterprises is the way they are unable to secure funding activities. So the use of technologies is able to help them to secure these kind of funding activities for them.
Okay, all right. Now, we've heard of stories of corrupt officials demanding bribes from business owners. Can digital tools really be the game changer to reduce these incidents?
Yes, it is. One thing that we discuss with most of the SME managers is that when it comes to procurement activities in Ghana and in Nigeria, most officials tend to demand bribe when there is face-to-face activities. But when the activities are moved online, it helps them to bypass these face-to-face activities. Okay. And so this is the typical example to demonstrate that with the use of digital technologies, SMEs can bypass corruption or bribery activities, and they will be able to grow their businesses.
Okay. Ghana relies heavily on SMEs, as your research points out, that about 60% of the SMEs employ about 60-70% of the workforce in sub-Saharan Africa. Yet they struggle to do a lot of things. For example, even having access to finance, making sure that the right things are done in that sector. What must change about the SMEs operations?
Well, as you mentioned, when SMEs are able to integrate these technologies, they are able to remove the human element in doing their business, and mostly as aligned with the authorities who normally, I'm not saying everybody, but in Ghana and Nigeria, most authorities are likely to demand bribe before certain activities are approved for them. And so with the use of these technologies, they're able to take the human element from that, and most of the things are processed online. And so they acknowledge that with these kind of activities that are done online, it helps them to be able to eliminate the face-to-face interface from their businesses. Yeah.
One other challenge that these SMEs face is sometimes trying to do business legal, registering their businesses, being able to pay their taxes and whatever. They even complain that tax officials become too hard on them. How can technology, digital tools, really help deal with these?
Well, you see, as I mentioned earlier on, with the integration of digital technologies, managers are able to move away from these officials that normally demand something before. When I say something, it could be bribe, it could be anything, it could be favors. So when they are able to move away from that and everything is done online, it makes it easier for them to move forward quickly and easier for them to do their businesses. And so one of some of the interviews that we did confirmed that it is important for managers, or let's say authorities, to try to improve the digitalization process that will allow them to do businesses more easily and to bypass the human element in doing business.
Was there anything shocking about your study and your finding amongst the SMEs in Ghana and Nigeria?
Yes, we found one thing that was very interesting was that we never expected that digital processes or digital tools will be able to eliminate corruption. And we compared companies that use the digital technologies and those that don't use the digital technologies. And we found that those that use digital technologies are able to grow about, let's say, 25% more than those that don't use digital technology. So this is, a very interesting finding, and some shocking revelation to demonstrate that digital technologies are good for firms to use in developing countries.
So what would be your recommendation to Ghanaian entrepreneurs, especially those who are struggling to stay afloat in, should I say, a corrupt society? And how do they really compete on the global stage?
Well, one of the findings that we also found, that we also got, was that firms that integrate digital technologies are able to do international business. They are able to move their business across borders, so exporting, and that helped them to do that. And so the most recommendation that we offered is aligned with how digital kind of authorities will be able to support these small businesses to improve their efficiency in integrating digital technologies to their businesses. This is very important because, I mean, those, as I mentioned, those that are able to do that are able to grow faster, about 25% more than those that are not able to do that.
Okay. I pray. But again, run us through some of these simple digital tools, because as we're saying, it looks big. But are there simple digital tools that SMEs who are watching us now could take advantage of if they don't even know?
Well, I mean, recently we found that companies are able to integrate mobile money transfers. These are, smaller kind of technologies that firms are able to integrate. We also talk about Internet of Things. We talk about artificial intelligence. Recently, is booming across the world, and so, given that we have a frugal type of innovations across West Africa, the use of mobile money, for example, is one of the things that I have mentioned for small, medium-sized enterprises to look at when they try to integrate this into their money payment systems. So this is one of them that we can think of.
Okay, all right, grateful to you, Doc, for joining us. Dr. Professor Samuel Adumako is part of that research that found that SMUs who are integrating digital technology tools are doing far better in Ghana and Nigeria. Well, away from that, persons living with disability in the Upper West region are asking for more inclusion and employment opportunities. They are worried about being sidelined and want government to give equal employment opportunities so they become useful to their societies. Upper West Regional Secretary of the Ghana Federation of Persons Living with Disability, Seydou Nani Ibrahim, spoke at a forum organized by non-government organization Necessary Aid Alliance to highlight challenges faced by persons with disability. Rafiq Salam reports from one.
Necessary Aid Alliance is a non-governmental organization that seeks to combat educational support for rural children and empower young women and girls. Over the years, they have implemented several programs and projects in the region which is impacting positively on the lives of the people. One of them is Tezawa Noba, which literally means we are all humans. The aim of the Tezawa Noba project is to highlight and address issues of stigmatization and discrimination against persons living with disability in the region. As part of the project, a forum was held where stakeholders were treated to captivating drama, songs and poetry to educate and advocate for persons with disability to be treated with dignity and respect.
I am visually impaired, but not brain dead. So give me a seat at the table. I also have dreams like you do. I also dream like flying and soaring high like the eagle. So let us stop this stigma because
Sazia Ahmed Ismail is the project lead for Necessary Aid Alliance, and she fell through light on the project.
We have gone to 6 communities and where we displayed our captivating drama to them. The drama brought to life the daily challenges that persons with disability go through within our community. And in some of those communities, some members actually came out to confess that they actually kill some newly born babies once they find out that they are visually impaired. This is very pathetic. And then we are also asking for stakeholders to join us to advocate for inclusivity within our communities.
A visual impaired person, Seydou Kamuna Ibrahim, gave further testimony about his close shave with Dev.
When I was born then, that was in the late 90s, one of the community members there who was a soothsayer said they should go and dump me inside a river. So in their quest to do that, they tried 3 times. It couldn't work out. Then he asked them again that they should bring me to him so that he would rather do what? Go and do the dumping. So he went and it was not also successfully. So then he told my parents that they shouldn't dump me away because I'm somebody who will grow up and be a leader in the future. So my grandfather gave me the name Kangmenenan, which means hadn't been God. So if it wasn't God by now, I wouldn't have been alive.
Seydou Kangmenenan, who is the Upper West Regional Secretary of the Ghana Federation of Persons Living with Disability, also disclosed how they were unfairly treated by the police.
So in one of our encounters, we went there to do the follow-up. When we got to the gate, the way the security man there approached us, it's like we're coming there to beg for something. We asked of his boss. He told us that, we blind people, what do we want his boss for? We said, oh, we are not coming for anything. We gave him a letter and we are coming for the follow-up. Then he treated us. Then later on we wrote to the boss that what your security guy did to us, we are not happy. It's not that we are coming to beg. Persons with visual impairments are not meant to be beggars. We are meant to be good leaders in the society. Me, ladies, I'm not begging. At least some of the family members are caring and they are at least doing all they could to assist.
Some participants who watched the harrowing drama and saw the inhumane act meted out to persons with disability calls for more support and sensitization on issues of persons with disability.
So what you have demonstrated here today is a miniature, it's a small part of the process of national integration. That is why I cannot hide my sentiments. So I'm thanking you so much. We have learned a lot.
So let's try to use inclusive words to describe these disabilities, not the person. When you say cripple, when you say dumb, deaf, no. That is not, they are not deaf, they are not blind. Because when you say somebody is blind, the person lacks total vision. When you say not the physical vision, as a vision to think about the future, where they want to see themselves in years. Or
they should give all of us the equal opportunity and let us be part of the society. At least once I'm having a problem with my eye doesn't mean that everything is lost. So we entreat on the government, at least each department should have a quota for persons with disabilities and look for those who have the intellect and let them be enrolled in those societies.
Reporting for J News, Rafik Salam. Wow.
Well, the minority in Parliament is demanding President Akufo-Addo halt the $34.9 million ambulance spare parts deal, describing it as scandalous. At a press meeting, the minority insists the payment has been made to the Service Auto Group Limited and alleges that the procurement of the ambulances was inflated. They further allege that relatives of President Akufo-Addo are beneficiaries of the deal, which was implemented under the Special Initiatives Ministry. Samuel Okojuta-Blakwa is the chairman of the Assurances Committee.
First of all, we want to strongly condemn the use of threats and intimidation by Service Ghana Auto Group Limited. The use of public funds for any national project will require greater scrutiny and accountability. We also want to state that the sums of money involved in this scandal are colossal. They are staggering. If you put all the pieces together, we are talking about a $108 million scandal. The procurement of the 307 ambulances cost this country $54.3 million. The Auditor General has revealed, if you go through the 2022 performance audit, that procurement itself is problematic. When you do the analysis, it was an inflated procurement. Then you need to also consider the fact that between 2020 and 2023, this company, Service Ghana Auto Group Limited, has been paid 115 million Ghana cedis, in addition to the $54.3 million. Then the latest scandal, the intercepted letters of the Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta on the 9th of February, 2024, few days before he left office on the 14th of February. He instructed that this $34.9 million should be approved. This ambulance scandal is like no other ambulance scandal. The Honorable Atufosin Jakpa persecution, all of that persecution was just 2.36 million euros. Nowhere near.
Well, Ghana has been crowned the champions of the Pan-African Robotics Competition 2024 after defeating the defending champions from Mali. represented by students from Vine Christian High School, who also clinched the 2023 Ghana Robotics Competition title. The team impressed with a robot capable of searching for items in rubble, an innovation with potential real-world implications in disaster recovery and rescue operations. There is more in the following report.
Some of the continent's brightest young minds gathered in Dakar, Senegal for the Pan-African Robotics Competition 2024. Vine Christian High School from Adjingano represented Ghana. The competition featured about 400 top young minds from across 14 countries, including Mali, Uganda, Lesotho, Madagascar, Nigeria, and Cote d'Ivoire. For the PARC Tech League, teams were given 3 days to build their robot, 1 day to test, and the 5th day for the competition. For the final contest, Ghana, represented by Vine Christian High School, faced defending champions from Mali. The PARC Tech League used the VEX IQ Robotics Competition Rapid Relay, where 2 robots take the field and try to score balls through targets and clear switches. Ghana secured first place with their innovative design and exceptional performance.
Wave the flag! Wave the flag!
Back in Ghana, the school was treated to a warm welcome.
Our young people robotics team have worked so hard to solve the problems and to engineer real solutions using robotics, using programming, using building.
In 2023, Vine High School won the Ghana Robotics Competition. With this Pan-African win under their belt, they hope to now take on the world. For Joy News, Michael Ashale.
Quite a beautiful story, and congrats to the kids and their teachers for that feat. It's not easy to achieve this, and I pray that, they go far with that. Other from that, at the Mile 7 roundabout, drivers are navigating more than just turns. They are dodging crater-sized potholes. These gaping road hazards are causing major traffic jams and wreaking havoc on vehicles, turning a simple commute into a daily obstacle course. My colleague Jacqueline and Sumaya Boa has more in this report.
The Mile 7 road, a crucial artery for commuters from Taifa, Amasaman, Pokwase and its environs, has deteriorated into a hazardous path with gaping potholes. Well, just as you can see behind me, right all the way from Neoplan and even from ABC, getting to Mile 7 roundabout is a vehicular traffic as at around 4:30, 5 p.m. that we were here. Even before 3 p.m., when we got here, there was vehicular traffic on this path. Well, we are here to speak to people who often use this route and people who stay around and even drivers to find out how this is affecting their livelihoods.
For the pothole size, I'll mostly complain about the pothole size because most of the time the cars, they speed, and then maybe because if there's a pothole there, you could see that as a tire can pass through there, maybe there will be a splash in the tire. Or most of the time, because of rainfalls, when the rainfall, you know that how the cars will speed, it takes a short way because the speed doesn't come, because they will have to limit in such a way that they won't overgo, because the pothole is really disturbing.
So now, you said earlier that you've been here for 7 years. Now 7 years, have you observed any accidents as a result of these potholes?
Yes, please. I've observed one at the Best Point side, because at that time I was crossing and there was a car that was also coming towards me. So before that pothole, the tire nearly burst.
So you nearly threw the car off?
Yes, please.
The road is not good at all. Sometimes it causes traffic on the road. Even for you to cross the road, it's very bad, actually, yes. So far, what I know about this road is very bad. So we please the government to come and do it for us immediately. That's yes.
Now, what about you? This road, the runabout with the potholes coming all the way from, because I could see that was even earlier around 2. When I got to ABC, that was when the traffic started. But this is like 4, 5. And how does this affect you?
Okay, it causes a lot of traffic. Even 5, by now 6, 7, you will see that the traffic gets worse and worse. It causes a lot of delays and stuff. When you get here early in the morning, there is a lot of traffic here because of the potholes. But a lot of cars have to slow down so that they can make their way out.
The potholes are the main cause of traffic here. If they can help repair the roads, the traffic will be reduced. The potholes also sometimes damage the underside of my car. We have repeatedly reported the potholes at the roundabout, but no one has addressed the issue. When it rains or even at night, these potholes cause severe traffic jams, sometimes extending all the way to Achimota. We are tired of complaining and we are urgently requesting for your assistance.
Well, just as you can see behind me is the vehicular traffic coming all the way from New Plan. Earlier it started at ABC, and this side is a free road. So as soon as you get to the runabout at mile 7 and you bypass and come forward a little bit, the traffic ceases. Just as we spoke to people who stay around and commuters, they shared with us how this is affecting their lives, and some calling on the government to come and help fix this road. This gaping potholes has been spoiling cars, and some complain about the fact that it even results in accidents. Reporting for Joy News, I am Jacqueline Ansuma Yeboah.
And the first female Director General of the Ghana TVET Service, Mausi Nudeko, has officially retired from office. Now, the industrious public servant says her departure will not in any way derail her unwavering commitment to TVET sector and reiterated her lifelong passion for technical and vocational education. She spoke to her send-off at her send-off event, and there's more in this report.
After nearly 40 years in the TVET space, Mausi Nudeko was appointed Director General in 2021. During a send-off service held on Tuesday, 6th August, she reflected on her achievement and the growing appreciation for TVET among Ghanaians.
It's sad for me that I'm exiting, but the other part of it is that I'll still remain in the TVET space, because I've operated in the TVET space for over 38 to 40 years, and now it's with that background and that skill that the president appointed me to go ahead MVTI, and later when I went on retirement, I was given a contract to go and start the Ghana TVET service.
In a speech, Mausi highlighted the passion for establishing TVET incubation centers, noting that there are currently none in the country.
And I'm looking forward to this government or the people of Ghana to think about putting resources together to build TVET incubation centers. We don't have TVET incubation centers, but I'm looking at it. And when I go into private, it's something that I will champion, and then we do resource mobilization to build TVET incubation centers.
Nudeko candidly addressed the challenges she faced, particularly regarding funding during her term in office.
Funds, very difficult. But you see, government cannot do it all. All of us need to come together, and if our heart is there, then we should all come together and do and give our support. Little drops of water makes the mighty ocean. Nobody should think that it's too small. Even one hammer donated to a school, it's worth it.
As part of the send-off service, Nudeko also launched a book aiming to inspire others with her journey. She believes that the departure from the Director General role marks the beginning of an even greater effort to impact the TVET sector.
And that's it for our package for you today. My name is Samuel Kojo Brace. On behalf of the team, thank you. But before we go, you can go on to myjoyonline.com for more news and information. When you go onto that portal now, some of the stories they include: Akufo-Addo appoints an ambassador in situ, makes deputy chief of staff ambassador at large. Okay, details of that story is there. And again, playback special prosecutor addresses the media on Airbus bribery scandal. Well, thank you very much for being a part of us today. I'll leave you in the hands of LTS. On behalf of the team, thank you so much for spending your afternoon with us. We'll meet again, God willing, tomorrow.